And we're back. Okay, so for some reason, sometimes when I go live, it doesn't share that I'm live. So she did not see that I was live. So hopefully this time Emma will see. So hi, hello again. Happy Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining this live. I am going live with author Emma Chase, and we are going to talk about her new movie, Royally Screwed. I am so stinking excited to talk to her about this film. I loved it. I thought it was so beautiful. I read the book years ago, and I can't wait to talk all things Royally Screwed. So hopefully this time, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for being here. Hopefully this time yes, Emma Chase is going to be here in just a second, and hopefully it'll work because for some reason, hi, hello, you're in India. Let me see if I can actually. Uh-oh, I think there's a problem. Let's see. Hang on one second, you guys. Cancel. I think she might be having a problem. Hi from California. Thank you for being here. Okay. Happy Monday. It's a Monday. Is it Monday? It's a Monday. Yes. 4-day weekend. You know, yesterday felt like Saturday. I don't know. We're all off. But I think Emma is having. Aloha from Arizona. I love that. Aloha. This is our second. Hey from Maine. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here. We're patiently waiting for author Emma Chase. I think she's having some sort of technical difficulties. Technology, man. Oh, man. I mean, there's palm trees outside my window and a pool, so girl, aloha. That's the best view in the entire world. I'm in Texas and I'm in Dallas, so you don't really see a lot of palm trees up here, but the random ones you do, it's so funny when it's like really, really cold. They have to be wrapped in like blankets because, you know, we don't want them to die. But what a view. How's the weather there today? So I think Emma, you have roots in Texas. I love it. Emma, I see you. I see you. I'm so sorry if there was any issues, but let's see. I'm going to add you. There you are. Yes, about palm trees. I'm in Orlando. Oh my gosh. Orlando, the best place in the world to be. Hi.
Hi, there you are.
You're here.
Made it.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I was like, I don't know if it's on my
No.
end.
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. There was a little bit of a glitch, but I'm so happy that I was able to join you.
I'm so happy you're here. I'm going to put my, hold on just one second.
Sure.
'Cause I feel like my head is cut off a little bit. I have to. It always does that. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very good. It's been like very exciting whirlwind of a weekend, but all good things.
I can only imagine, and I spy Nicholas behind you is royal. Is that the cover?
Yes, I put up, like the royal themed, have them all peeking out.
I love it. Congratulations on this movie. It was so good. I loved it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I think that they really did beyond my expectations. Our director, Sophia Chiapos, and the whole Passionflix team, they really just did a phenomenal job from the sets to the music to the phenomenal cast. I think every cast member, just knocked it out of the park. So I couldn't be more thrilled.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about the cast. We're going to talk about so many things. And shout out to Sophia because this film was so beautifully shot and filmed production-wise. It was stunning. And I read that they filmed it in like 2.5 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, less than 3 weeks. It was, I believe it was 18 days, could be 17.
You know, it doesn't surprise me with Passionflix because it's amazing what they can do, but that is wild.
Very ambitious. Yes.
Oh
And it's
my God.
funny because as I was watching the movie, I thought to myself, wow, they really do a lot.
Yeah.
And not that I'd forgotten, but like
Yeah.
when I was writing the book, I don't remember thinking like, wow, they like go a lot of places.
They do. They do. And it's so funny because I read the book years ago and I was going to reread it because I wanted to have everything refreshed, but I didn't have time. But as I was watching it, I was like, oh, I remember this. I remembered everything was all coming back to me. And this book came out almost 10 years ago. This is
Yeah.
so crazy cool that 10 years later, it's now a movie. My mind is blown for you.
Yeah, you know what? Tosca and I were talking about that because there was a couple. This was actually one of the first books that Passionflix had optioned when they started. Um,
Mm,
and I was such a fan of Passionflix's even then, just the idea for it. I thought it was so smart. I
yes.
really liked the ladies that had put it together and were behind it. So through the years, we had kind of started to move forward. We had a script. I remember, I think I would say like 2018, I was on my way to DC for a book signing, and we were talking about moving forward then. And that was the year that we were going to film in Boston, actually. And
Wow.
that was the year that Massachusetts had like a phenomenal, crazy amount of snow.
Of
Like roofs were
snow. Yeah.
collapsing. Yeah. So, and Tosca and I were discussing it, and she had said, with our budget and our schedule, you know, if we get an unexpected blizzard, that's just going to throw the shooting schedule completely out of whack. So, you know, we had to hold off for a little while. But I just really feel like in the end, I think timing is so important, you know,
Oh,
in every career, in every venture. And I just think that this film was meant to have this director, this crew,
yes.
to be able to shoot in England. Like it was this time and these people that were involved. And I think that's part of what makes it so special.
Yes, and Max and Jenny, they were just so fabulous together. Their chemistry and
Yeah.
just like the little nuances that he brought to Nicholas, that she brought to Olivia. I was so impressed by the both of them. I was watching them just the whole time. Like they had me zoned in. I could not get over that chemistry
Yeah.
between the two of them. And again, 2.5 weeks, that just blows my mind. How do you do that?
I was talking to Jenny. I said I wouldn't have even been able to learn to dance. Like
Yeah.
as far as that alone, whole week.
I know, and you get to see Tosca in the background. I loved that.
Yes.
And it turned into like a Pride and Prejudice moment when they're dancing and everybody disappears. I was like, oh my gosh.
Magical.
But
It
love
was.
it.
It was magical. No, Max and Jenny were phenomenal, and I was just so excited right from the jump. You know, when we had seen their audition and we were talking about casting, I
Yeah.
thought they looked the roles. They're both so amazingly talented,
Yes.
and you know, like these are not easy roles. There's a huge range of emotion that
Yep.
they experience. You know, and to be honest. You know, writing a romance novel, some of the lines are not easy to say to another human being.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for them to pull it off and pull it off with charm and humor and romance and passion, it was so phenomenal to see. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and they just the way that they engage with each other, like they were able to be cute and they were able to be funny.
Yeah.
Because I love that we were also able to keep the banter in the script.
Yes.
Because you know our romance ladies, we love our banter, but I think that that's such an important piece of a lot of these relationships. You know, it's where
Yes.
they start, it's where they build that kind of push and pull, and I
Absolutely.
love that they were able to keep that in. And I just think Max and Jenny just perfectly, you know, did those.
Absolutely. There
Yeah,
was a comment on Instagram from Kathy. She said it was so well done. It stuck to the book, wording almost verbatim, which
yeah,
is something that I feel like Passion Flicks like prides themselves on when it
yeah.
comes to bringing these romance novels to life, especially when they first meet and Nicholas is drunk and he can't understand why she's not accepting his money. She's like, I am not a pro. That whole part where he puts his hands under the table and she's like, close your eyes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Genius. I loved it.
wonderful. Yeah, no, the fact that they got, and again, for Max to be able to pull off that moment and still be
Yes.
likable and still have,
Yes.
and for Jenny to get, you know, to push back but
To
still
push.
be warm and still, you know, to have
Yes.
us rooting for both of them together.
Yes.
You know,
Because
that was again not an easy moment to
no,
pull, but I
it could have
think it
gone a
really
different
worked.
way.
Yeah, it could have
Yeah.
gone very badly. but it worked really well for the film. And I think for the readers, Passionflix, they value keeping the dialogue and staying true to the book. And I
Yes.
think they understand what readers love about these stories and these characters and what makes them so captivating and so special. And they
Yes.
really go above and beyond to bring that into their films. And a lot of
Yes.
that is the dialogue. I think readers in particular get really excited, when they hear a line verbatim because they're like, I
Yes.
know that one. Some of them will have it, these exact lines in their scrapbooks or tattoos even.
Tattoo.
You know,
Yes.
so the dialogue is so important to the readers, but then also it works for non-readers.
Yeah.
People who have not read the book are still able to follow along and get it, and it doesn't sound out of place.
Yeah, and that's what I just appreciate so much about Passionflix. I've said this before. I love the way that they are telling the stories of from the book, but also in such a it's like a slower, organic. They're really playing out these scenes so that we are in the moment with them like we're reading it. It's like literally we're reading it and it's coming to life right in front of us, and they're so good at doing that. It blows my mind. But basically, you're like the queen of Passionflix because you've
Oh
had
my
not one
gosh.
but two books made into movies. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously. No, it's a complete honor, and
Yeah,
I've tried to think of a different word than honor, but it's an honor and a
yeah,
privilege and it's surreal to think that a team, of creatives and artists who put together films would look at one of my stories and think, we can do this and we can make this could make for a good movie. So
yeah,
that's always an honor. But the fact that they were able to do so well with them, because
yeah.
Tangled as well, it was the first movie that they made. Phenomenal job, great cast, lovely
Yes.
director. Not in, I don't know if it's just my books or if it's books in
It
general, but
just
not always an easy movie to make with some of the personalities and the dialogue.
Yes.
But they just hit it out of the park. And I think with Tangled, I was able to visit the set. And it was kind of just this crazy, surreal experience. I just kept looking around thinking, like, I can't
Uh-huh.
believe a couple words that I wrote a few years ago. And now, again, there's an actress in a nun costume here. And
I
then with Royally Screwed, I wasn't able to visit the set when they were filming in England, which
okay.
was heartbreaking because I was actually finishing the book that I'm going to have coming out later this year. Like
Oh,
those
that's
deadlines kind
exciting.
of collided. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was able to go for the premiere in London and meet everyone. So, which was just, exceptionally lovely.
Oh,
So, yeah, so I'm always honored to work with Passionflix. I think they're great. I think they make wonderful films, and I think they are true to the spirit of the characters and the spirit of the stories.
absolutely. I love that they actually did Tangled first because I love that they had Josh Plassey and Catherine Hughes. They were the perfect Drew and Kay. I am such a fan of Josh Plassey.
Yeah,
I follow his work. I think he is fantastic, and I love what he brought to the character of Drew.
amazing.
I've read Tangled more times than I should probably say. Okay, at one point I was like, okay, it's time to move on, Stephanie, move on. Um, but I thought it was so unique and different that you were telling the story just from Drew's point of view because that's very rare. Why did you choose to write that book from Drew's point of view?
Yeah, Tangled was my first book, and I think at that time, I really enjoyed being different, being separate from my own life.
Mm,
It really felt, being from the male point of view, it felt like I wasn't telling the story, he was telling the story.
yeah,
And it made all that humor, it made it fun and funny for me as well. And it just made it so much easier to kind of slip into the mind of a character who was not like me and does not talk like me.
yeah,
But a character that I kind of knew so well, that was sort of, Frankenstein together from bits and pieces of different guys and boys and experiences that I'd heard and had through my.
yes,
But yeah, I think Josh made Drew so lovable and so
yes,
likable, which was so crucial because again, in a book, we are inside the character's head. So you can
yep,
have them saying one thing, but thinking another. And that actually goes for Nicholas as well. The whole first few chapters of Royally Screwed, it's very focused on, him kind of saying one thing, what's expected, what's proper, but thinking
yeah,
and feeling something very different and how he kind of keeps that locked down.
Mm.
So in the movie, you're just watching from the outside, and it's the actor's job to project, what they're
Yeah.
really feeling, even if they're saying something completely different, which is so difficult. So, and
Yeah.
I just think, Josh with Drew, he really was focused on making him sympathetic and making him still likable, even though he's behaving like a brat.
Yes. I thought the humor that he brought, because you could take Drew a completely different way. But I do know that I remember when the poster came out, everyone was like, okay, how is he Drew? And then the teaser came out and they're like, yes, he is Drew. He brought such a charm to his character because again, even Josh would say that like you could take this character a completely different way. And also just, yeah, same with Nicholas, with what Max did with him. And I find that so fascinating and with actors because I know that they truly want to know who their characters are. Even if they play the villain, they want to know who their characters are, why they're making their choices. And so far, I mean, we've been making some great choices with these leads because they're all just phenomenal.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I think that goes back to Passion Flicks as well. I love being
yes,
involved in the casting process and being
yeah,
involved in the script process, but they kind of know what they're looking for, I think. And it's, the
yes,
personalities of the actors as well, taking on these roles,
yes.
being such a short schedule, that for everyone to kind of just be on board and be excited to make the best movie that they can. I think that goes a long way. So they're really great at kind of finding the people who will make the most of these roles. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of comments. I don't know if you've been
Oh,
reading them, but
yeah.
I'm going to read a couple. It says, hey, Miss Author Emma Chase, your books are amazing, and my favorite is the Tangled series. I have reread it too many times to count, and the movie was amazing as well.
Thank you.
I love that. So I'm just going
That's
to go
wonderful.
through.
Thank you so much.
The pie in the face moment was hilarious. Yes, it was.
And I
I,
think that's such a nice thing too, because it kind of shows, like we always talk about in reading and writing, showing and not telling. Like it
yes.
was literally able to show that, she doesn't like take any crap. Like she has boundaries, and when you have those
Yes.
boundaries, you're going to hear it.
She
So I
she
love that.
is tough, and Jenny did such a good job with that because like you said, she was also in that scene so warm, but also standing her ground and like, excuse me, like yes, I need this money,
Yes.
but get out of here. Here,
Yes.
take your apple pie and go.
Yes, exactly. And again, but didn't come out overly harsh. Like when she does that, a lot of the crowd in the audience when we watch it with my family and friends were like, yes,
I
hit it
saw
again.
your post today, so you got to have a special screening with your family and friends. That is so special. How did that go?
Yes. Well, so when Tangled actually came out, this was during COVID. So we ended up having like virtual kind
Yeah.
of premieres and whatnot. So this time around, it was delightful. And my family's so crazy because that's right. So I had gone to the premiere in London, and like I said, it was just a magical evening. A lot of the pictures are online. Everyone
Yes.
was lovely. And then when I came home and when the movie came out, some of my cousins and I were talking about going to Aunt So and So's house and, just having a little watch party. So
Yeah.
that's how it started. Then it
I
became,
love this. I love it.
60 people later, we're at an independent theater in Asbury Park, which is fantastic. And there's crowns and beads and tiaras and, and custom cookies, and everyone, not an insignificant amount of alcohol, but everybody had a really lovely time. It was so much fun, and it was so nice to celebrate, with my
Yeah.
family, because they were excited. They were excited for me, but they were also excited to see the movie, and it was a
Yes.
very cool experience to be able to see it on a big screen.
Yeah.
um, so everybody just had such a great time, and I was very thrilled because my family, again, wonderful, but they can be brutal. So they would not be above, saying, we love you, but don't ever make us do this again. That was not the reaction that they had. They enjoyed the movie. They loved it. They thought it was moving, and they thought
Yes.
it was sweet and magical. They got all the kind of little fairy tale elements in there, and they
Yeah.
just really enjoyed it, which was so lovely, for me to have an experience that they enjoyed it.
Was that the first time when you saw it at the movie at the premiere, or were you able to screen it before then?
I had seen an earlier cut before they
Okay.
kind of do the music wasn't added, and
Okay.
different colorization things that they do with it, those final kind of polished steps.
Yeah.
So I had seen an earlier cut, which, and even then I thought it was great and was very emotional at moments. But it was fantastic to see it like on the big screen and all put together.
And
Um,
being there with the cast. I love that they made that it was a huge premiere in London. I love that everybody got to be there and just sitting in that room. I'm sure there were passionistas there, but just sitting in that room with everybody. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was so exciting. And so I felt like for the actors, the crew was there, again, all these people who put so much time, effort, and energy into
Yeah.
making this movie the best that it could be. It was
Yeah.
so well deserved to have this celebration, this really special night. And I loved meeting, all the Passionistas, the founding members. And it
Yeah.
was great to be around people who were excited for finally getting to this point. Because again, a lot of the Passionistas, a lot of my readers have been waiting for this movie, and hoping and excited about it. So I love that I can honestly say that it was so worth the wait.
Mm, I love that. And so
Yeah.
with this process of the script and all of that and working, I'm assuming with director Sophia, she was fabulous. I adored this like you can sense her style in throughout this movie, but what was it like working with her on it?
She was great while they were filming, although I couldn't be on set. I was available through text,
Yeah.
and we would text with each other if she had any questions about. So at during the press conference, Olivia's dad is there, and she had asked me, would Olivia's dad be there because he's not mentioned in the book.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, like, of course he would be there. Like, it all comes full circle.
Ah,
So I loved that I mean, like I said,
thought of
she
that.
totally got it. Yes,
Yes.
yes, 100%, he should be there. So I loved that, she understood the story. She got these characters. Um, some of the shots in the film were just so beautiful.
Yes.
And I feel like that's such an exciting thing about an adaptation from the book to the film, is that it gave Sophia the opportunity to not just adapt the source material, but elevate it.
Yeah.
And that was really just magical to see. There were a couple scenes. There was one scene where Nicholas and Olivia are in bed and they're in Wesco, and he's talking about wanting her to stay.
Yeah.
And they have like this white sheet covering them. And I
Yes.
remember when I first saw it, I'm like, wow, that's like just, they look so pretty. Like, it's just such a beautiful, pleasant shot to see. But then later, I was even thinking about it, like kind of one level deeper. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're literally like in a cocoon. They're in their own bubble, like their own world. And
Yes.
I'm like, God, that's just so smart. So smart.
So the things that, and I'm like, now how do we get the camera in there and how do we make it
Yeah.
look so, how do we do this?
Yeah, no, that's amazing too. Or even when they're, in the ballroom and they're dancing and they're like, how's the lighting
Yes.
and the microphone and the count? Like, where is
Yes,
everyone?
where is everybody? How are we doing this? My favorite scene, one of my favorite scene, but my favorite shot, I love when she's standing in the pie shop and she's on one side of the door and he's on the other and you can see the reflection. And that
Yeah.
happens not once but twice. There's two separate moments when this happens and I was like, I love this shot. And it's with doing a movie with 2.5 weeks and you're making something become alive, any nuances, any details that you can do to make it stand out and special. And that one stood out to me
Yeah.
so much. I thought it was brilliant how they did that.
It was beautiful. It really was. And I remember writing that paragraph in the book because I really liked that moment of anticipation, that moment,
Yes.
nothing's happened yet, but everything is perfect.
Yes.
And, when she opens her eyes and he's standing up, and it was just, it couldn't have been more gorgeous. Yes, it's just so sweeping. So they
Swoon.
they just they hit that perfectly. But then there were other scenes that I loved watching because there were moments that were actually more emotional for me in the movie that were not necessarily emotional in the book, in reading the book or writing it. And
Yeah.
one of those moments, and it just made it really interesting and kind of fresh again, even for me. But
Yeah.
one of those moments when Nicholas says to the secretary, pick one, it doesn't matter, who. And that's kind of
Mm.
his rock bottom in the book. That's when he's
Yes.
just,
Yes.
he's not getting out and walking to the gallows. And that's
Yes.
kind of his rock bottom also in the movie. But what they were able to do, again, Sophia and the actors and Sho Ray, who plays the queen, who is unbelievable. So
Stunning. I wanted to bow. I was like, I feel like I need to bow right now. She was
yes,
so elegant.
yes,
And I was blown away by her performance. I just watched The Penguin, the series, a
yes,
few months ago, and I was like, I have PTSD from that series, but I was obsessed and in love with her, and seeing her in this role, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
amazing.
All hail the queen. All hail
Yes.
this queen.
No, she brought so much nuance and so much emotion
Yes.
and skill to that role. But so in that scene when he delivers the line, it doesn't matter, and he walks away, Nicholas is in the background, but the camera focuses on the queen. And
Mm-hmm.
because, Sho Ray is so amazing, she was able, you just see these emotions kind of dance over her
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And you see that she just asked him, is that the life you want for her? And you can so see that this is not the life that she wants for her grandson. She wants him to be happy
Yes.
and she wants him to embrace this. So she's kind of shocked and disappointed. And it did it. It made me choke up because like there was just so much more complexity. And
Hmm.
that's not necessarily something that I could do in a book
Yeah.
because it is from Nicholas's point of view. So if he doesn't see his grandmother's face, then we don't register that as the reader.
Yes.
But in the film, they were able to kind of splice in those different moments, which was just really great.
I love that. And I think I saw in an interview where Tosca was talking about how she had sent her the script and she's like, yes, I want to do it and don't touch anything with the script. Like, I want everything. Like, don't touch it. It's perfect the way it is. What a compliment,
Oh
though.
my gosh, I know. So
What?
incredible. So incredible. And I love that role. I love the queen. I feel like she's probably the most complicated character in the entire series,
Yeah.
but she's delightful to write.
Yeah.
And no, there is no actress better that could have portrayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I feel
not.
like one of the most relatable things is her talking to her dead husband's portrait. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the most normal thing. It's like,
Yes.
oh, it's supposed to be weird, but that was so normal.
Yes.
She's
No,
she's
everyone.
like, what have we done? Or where did we go wrong?
Yes. And I feel like too, in the book, but it's even more pronounced in the movie, is the family element. The
Yes.
family aspects, both in Olivia's side and Nicholas's side. And I think that that's really highlighted in the film, that's
Yeah.
how we relate to them. You can relate to a queen and a prince because, who has not talked the portrait
Right.
picture?
It's so true. It's so
Why?
true.
What happened? Or what older sibling has not had to deal with a younger sibling that you love? You
Yes.
also want to strangle once in a while.
Yes.
Or a younger
Yeah. Yeah.
sibling dealing with, the kind of overbearingness of the older. So I feel like those
Yeah.
family elements are really front and center in the movie, and
Yeah.
it's a way that we can connect with the characters.
What was your favorite scene brought to life?
There was a lot. I will say this: every cast member, every actor in this film, they just completely surpassed my expectations with the way that they perform these characters, and I can't say that enough.
Yeah.
From Fergus, to Simon and Franny, like Simon, the actor who portrayed him, brought so much warmth to the character
Yes. Yep.
that I think really resonated and really came off the screen. So
Yep.
for me, that was just so lovely to see because there are so many characters in this book that my readers really love. Like there's huge Simon and Franny fans. There is no insignificant character. And I
Yeah.
don't think there was an insignificant cast member that did
Yeah.
not really fully bring these characters to life.
Agree.
Um,
For
but
sure.
one of my favorite, and I've mentioned this before in the book and as well as in the movie, was when the first moment and they have after their first date and after they have an interaction with Olivia's dad, and they're
Yes.
kind of exchanging. He says my grandmother talks to paintings, and she's talking about her father, and it's
Yes.
just such an intimate, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
In the book, the dialogue was kept, and in the film, the way that it's shot and the way that it was performed was equally beautiful.
Yes.
It was
because
breathtaking.
they are able to relate to each other, because how would I relate to a prince and a kingdom, not really understanding what he's gone through, and they were able to connect. And I think the shot, because it was like backlit, it was
Yeah.
dark, and just
Yeah.
the intimacy of the two of them, and then
Yes.
that kiss.
Yes. Yes.
What do you mean with that kiss?
Yeah.
Wow, that
No,
was a
it was
great first
perfect.
kiss.
It
Great
was.
first kiss.
It was. Yes. So just that whole moment, I just feel like was so beautifully done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. And I have to bring up Marty, because the actor who
Oh,
played cracked me up the entire time. He
I
definitely
know.
brought something more to his role into the film. And I was just like, God bless him. I love him in this role.
Yeah, he made, and I say this, without reservation, the lines that he delivered in the movie were funnier in the
Yes.
movie than
Yeah.
they were in the book. It was his
Yeah.
personality, just his energy was so spot on and so good.
So
And
good.
such a joy to watch, and he's great, in real life as well as
Yeah.
his talent on the screen is just phenomenal.
Aw, I love
Yeah.
it. So
Yes.
going back to 10 years ago, where did the idea of Royally Screwed come from?
So I had just finished the Legal Brief series
Okay.
with Simon and Schuster, and I had sent my agent, some outlines and some ideas for what to do next. And she called me and she said, you don't sound like you're excited about these ideas. You sound like you're trying to be excited about
Oh no. Oh no.
And it's wonderful to work with someone like who knows you so well and
Yes,
put that out on the table.
for sure.
So we were having a discussion and we were just kind of brainstorming, and the idea came up of what are readers interested in when they're not reading.
Yeah.
And somewhere in that discussion, royalty and a prince. And I was like,
Yes,
I
yes.
think
Keep
I
going.
can do that. Yes.
Yes.
Because immediately what locked in for me was the family kind of interactions. That,
Yes.
that you're not just related to this person, you work for them. They're
Yeah.
not just your mother or your grandmother, they're your boss. But
Yes.
also because I kind of grew up reading historical romances, and I've loved
Yes.
historical romances, my whole life. But
Yes.
I don't know, Royally Yours is kind of historical. That's the fourth book in the series. It takes place around like World War II time. But as far as like Regency romances, I don't know if I would ever be bold enough to write one, just because of the research that goes into it. I feel like I would be
Mm.
forever researching and never
Yeah.
writing. But royalty also, I felt like, wow, that's almost historical adjacent, because the traditions and the titles and the
Yeah.
sweeping grandeur of it, feels very similar. So that's kind of where that very first the royalty trope kind of hit.
Love it.
And over the course of the days, and it was very unique, because normally I kind of focus in on one story, one couple at a time. But
Hmm.
with this, the kind of ideas were just flowing, and I was taking notes, and we had all three titles, within a couple days. We had the story basic plot points for each book, and I was
Amazing.
able to kind of leave little Easter eggs in each book for the next couple, kind of make those connections.
I love that. And I know that the main question right now is will there be more movies made from
Yeah.
this series, which I don't know if you can say.
Yes. So we are definitely maybe. Yeah. Well, this seemed to be like a very positive, exciting experience for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone's enjoying it. The reception has been lovely.
Yeah.
So, I would certainly be on board with that. So, nothing official to release yet. But, oh, and let me just say, while we're on the subject, Harry Jarvis, who plays Henry.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
Royal Screwed. Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, he made me
Adorable.
cry.
Yes,
Yes.
adorable. I loved when he read Nicholas the Rydick. Like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? How
Yes.
could you do that?
Yes. And even, when they were kind of fighting with each other, and,
Yes.
and he just has this moment where, Nicholas says, I was going to stay, now I can't. And he just
Yeah.
looks so broken and devastated. And he becomes like everyone's little brother in that moment. And you just
Yeah.
feel bad. But what a talented actor, did such great things with the role.
He
So
really did.
I certainly would love to see more of him in that role. So yeah, so like I said, we're definitely, it's definitely something that's being discussed.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I feel like in this movie in particular, because you brought up like the being under the sheets kind of was like a throwback to Romeo and Juliet. We had like a Pride and Prejudice moment when they walk in and Henry's partying and he's in like risky business.
Yeah.
He's in his t-shirt and underwear.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
this is brilliant. Did any of those come from you, or was there any talk, or was there anything that you were like, these are my favorite movies. I would love to see this, or did that just happen naturally?
Yeah, no, that was Sophia. Yeah, the Pride and Prejudice moment. You know what I mean? Those little kind
Yes.
of, that was all her and how it was shot, which was just,
Mm,
again, I can't say enough good things about
yeah.
how lovely it was. The 80s party was in the book. And what's funny is because Olivia has curly hair. I don't know why, because I remember writing it, but I remember I wanted to work in St. Elmo's Fire and Andie MacDowell, who she
Yeah.
could be. And I think that's where the
Yeah.
80s party theme came from. Because I was thinking, like, if it was going to be a themed party, who would Olivia be? And
Yeah.
that's kind of who popped into my head. So, and of course, the fact that Henry is Tom Cruise in Risky Business and just boldly, in a t-shirt,
Yes.
nothing else.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Yes. So, but yeah, the fact that they kept that in just, again, made it more fun, stayed true to the book. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So going back to your first book, Tangled, why did you want to become a romance writer? What was it about writing? Have you always written, or was it books were just your thing? Like, how did you fall into writing romance?
Yeah. So I've always been a romance reader. And I think that's how
Mm,
a lot of romance writers get
yes.
started is you love the genre, you love the stories. It's not just love stories, it's, stories of life and stories of
Yeah.
love overcoming any obstacle.
Yeah.
So I'd always been, a reader. And when my kids went to school full time, I was not going to work full time because I need to be still available, and I'd always written. It's just as a hobby, even, high school, grammar school before that, it was just always kind of a passion.
Yeah.
So I started taking a creative writing course just to sort of have something to do
Oh,
at
yeah.
the local community college. And the person who was teaching the class actually was someone that I had gone to high school with, who
Oh,
had published several sci-fi novels himself.
oh, how fun.
Yeah, so it was great to like reconnect, but that also
Yeah.
really made the idea of publishing and becoming a professional writer seem attainable. The fact that it
Yeah.
was someone you knew who had done it. So, and this was around, 50 Shades of Grey had come out, so
Hmm.
self-publishing was kind of just starting off. So once I had Tangled complete, yeah, I just started querying. And to be honest, I didn't plan on this necessarily as a career.
Mm.
After once Tangled took off, then certainly, and I started working with Simon and Schuster, and I wanted to finish the rest of the series, which was, such a phenomenal way to start a career. But after that, I remember thinking maybe I was done. I wasn't sure if there were going to be more stories.
Mm.
I wasn't sure if I could do it outside the Tangled world, outside Drew Evans. And to be perfectly honest, if I remember thinking if this is all there is,
Yeah.
it had surpassed my wildest dreams. So
Aw.
I would have been okay with that. Yeah, my goal was just to hold like the idea of just holding a book with my name on it that
Yeah.
was the dream. So, but then, we were in DC with my family and I had an idea for the Legal Brief series. And that's kind of where that was born from. So sort of after that series, I realized like, oh, okay, like I can keep doing this. Like there's starting
Yeah.
to be more ideas. And, as long as there are readers who want to read the stories and get excited, that's kind of the main motivation for me now is to share these stories and these characters with my readers who seem to really love them.
I love that. And so what do you love most about being a romance writer?
Oh gosh. You know, there are some days there is nothing better that feels better
Mm.
than writing a line.
Mm.
Oh God, that's so good. And not every day is like that, believe me. Most
Yeah.
days.
Oh, I oh that I this is a great I love this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
most days, I mean, I just described last summer to my agent, there are some scenes and some chapters that feel like you're chopping down a tree and
Yeah.
you're with a hand axe, a small dull axe,
Yes.
and you're just whacking away at it. And that's really on a normal day, that's really what a normal day is like. It's you do the best that you can and you know it will get better and you can fix it.
Yeah.
But then there are times where you're able to write a line or you write a moment between the characters that's just so beautiful that it kind of takes your breath away
Yeah.
as a reader, as someone who loves reading, and you get so excited that you created that. It's this magical moment and that you
Mm.
just can't wait to share it with others. So I
Oh,
feel like that's my favorite part.
that's, I love that. And you mentioned earlier, I'm sure you can't really say too much, but you are finishing up a project for a book that's going to be releasing later on this year. Can
Yes.
you say anything about it?
No, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
coming.
Well, at least a book is coming. I love this. Okay, that's
Yes, it
good.
is absolutely coming in 2026. In over
Okay.
the next few months, we'll have a title, we'll
Yay.
have a cover reveal and a blurb reveal, and
Okay.
audiobook narrators, and all that good stuff is definitely coming this
Oh,
year.
that's so, yeah. Now, is this going to be like a brand new series, or is this part of another series that you have already, or is this brand new?
This is brand new. Right
Okay.
now, it's a standalone.
Okay.
Of course, there's always like little open doors
Yes.
towards the end, depending on the readers. But I'm so proud of it, and I'm so excited. I really
Hmm.
think there are some books. As a writer, we love all our books. I do. It's like, I mean, not to
Yeah.
say it's like our children, but it is. There's
Yeah.
not one that you don't love. But
Yeah.
there are some books that at least for me personally, that I feel like you get excited because you think it's going to check all those boxes for your readers. Like when
Mm.
they pick up one of my books, this is what they're hoping for. And I really think this story, Royally Screwed, was like that.
Oh
Royally
my.
Screwed was like that. Tangled was like that. And I think this next book coming in 2026 will be one of those books. So I'm really excited to share it with
I am very excited. I
you.
cannot
Yeah.
wait to read it. Okay, okay, okay. I will be
Yeah.
watching your
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah. Because I mean, like I said, we had to wait for a Royally Screwed movie and it was totally
Yeah.
worth it.
Yes, it was. And I feel like you said, like it's about the timing. And
Yeah.
I love that Tangled came out first and it was just making its way for Royally Screwed. And I honestly didn't realize that it was going back to 2018. That
Yeah.
they've been waiting this long for it. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
it was worth
Yeah.
the wait, I think.
Yay! Oh, I'm
I
so glad.
think.
Yeah, yeah. I think so too.
Do you have any book events or author events that you have planned this year?
No, not right
Okay.
now. Yeah, I'm actually working on. I'm writing now my next project. That's
Oh,
coming out after. So the one I'm working on right now will be announced and will be coming out in 2027 if all goes well. So
okay.
right now I'm just working on meeting that deadline. It's great to be in a good groove. Again, a good rhythm. I feel like with
Yeah.
coming out and writing the next one and being able to stay, like 6 to 8 months ahead of the
Yeah.
piece. I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot for me. So
Okay.
that's really my focus. I love chatting and meeting readers. I love going to events. But at the same time, I think it's just kind of, again, making sure that I stay in that groove because I'm sure meeting me is great, but they really want my book. Like if it was me staying home, you just stay home and write, honey.
Ah. I'll take
So,
both. I'll take both.
yes, yes. But as events open up or if anything does come up, I'll
Yes.
certainly have it on my website.
Perfect.
I did want everyone to also notice on Passionflix that we have Royally Screwed merch.
Yes.
Royally Screwed but caffeinated. I will be drinking this as I'm trying to meet my next deadline because I think
Love
that
it.
will describe me well.
Love it.
Yes.
Again, this partnership I met so back in 2022, I went to Book Bonanza and Passionflix had a booth and we literally were in this booth for like an hour. We couldn't leave. We didn't want to leave. We were talking to Tosca, we were talking to everybody and I just loved what they were doing. I loved their passion. I loved because
Yeah.
at that time I was so excited for Lick to come out by Kylie Scott and that was a
Yes.
long
Oh
time in
my
the
gosh. I
making.
just finished watching that. Yes.
It's so
So
good.
good.
So good.
So good.
The
Yeah,
details, it's all about the details. So I am a proud passionista. I'm so happy that you guys have connected and that you're working together because I
yeah.
feel like they are the ones to do it. So congratulations on
Thank
everything. I'm so
you.
happy for you and I'm so happy
Thank
for
you.
all of this and I can't wait for more. We need
Thank
more
you
because
so much. Yeah,
we
I'm
just,
delighted. Again, I couldn't be more grateful.
yeah.
So thanks. This was wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you so
And
much.
everybody go out and enjoy Royally
Yes.
Screwed.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
for
so
joining.
much.
And thank you everybody for joining us today. And yeah,
Yeah,
go watch Royally Screwed because it's really good. Okay.
awesome.
Have a good rest of your Monday.
You too. Take care.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
You too.
Bye
Bye.
bye.